Today, we're diving into the story of SoundCloud. You know, the platform that completely changed the music game, created a whole new generation of superstars, and then, well, almost blinked out of existence.
Get a load of this number. By 2021, over 200 million tracks have been uploaded to SoundCloud. I mean, just to give you some perspective, that is way, way more than a platform like MySpace ever had. It just shows you the insane scale we're talking about here.
But that massive number, it kind of hides a huge paradox. On one side, you have this cultural powerhouse, a true revolution in music. And on the other, a business that was constantly, and I mean constantly, on the verge of collapse. So how can a company be both of those things at the exact same time?
Okay, so to really get it, we've got to go back, way back, to the beginning. Picture this, Berlin, 2007. You've got two guys from Sweden, a sound designer and an electronic musician. And they decide they're going to build something totally new. And this right here, this was the secret sauce. You see, SoundCloud was never meant to be another Spotify for you and me to just listen to music. No, the founders wanted to build something like a GitHub, but for musicians. A place where they could share works in progress, get feedback, and actually collaborate. And this is where it gets really smart. Think about MySpace. That was all about the fans, right? A place for them to go. SoundCloud just flipped that whole model on its head. It was built for the creator first. And that one simple change made it an absolute game changer for a whole wave of new artists.
And wow, did that creator-first idea pay off? Just look at this growth. It was absolutely explosive. We're talking 1 million users in 2010, and then bam, 40 million just 3 years later. Artists were just flocking to the platform because it gave them one thing they couldn't get anywhere else: total freedom.
And that right there, that is the question. It's the problem that would basically haunt SoundCloud for the next 10 years. You've built this massive, incredible community, but nobody's really paying for it.
Because with all that insane growth came, you guessed it, insane pressure. All of a sudden, you have investors who want to see a return on their cash, and you've got the major record labels looking at this flood of music on the platform and wanting a piece of the action, or at least some control.
So by 2014, after a pretty big funding round, this was the company's valuation. $700 million. I mean, on paper, they were a huge success, right on the edge of becoming a billion-dollar company. But behind that big, shiny number, the reality was really, really grim. That valuation was basically just hiding a massive financial crisis. The money was running out, and it was running out fast. To have any chance of staying alive, they had to shut down offices and lay off almost half their employees. It was a full-blown corporate near-death experience.
So this led to a pretty desperate 3-part plan to finally make some money. First, they brought in ads. Then they cut deals with the major record labels to try and, legitimize all the content. And finally, they launched their own subscription service, SoundCloud Go, to go head-to-head with the big guys like Spotify.
So what was the problem? Well, for the community, these moves felt like a total betrayal. The deals with the labels led to these aggressive copyright takedowns, suddenly erasing all the remixes and DJ sets that were the heart and soul of the platform. Features people loved just disappeared, and deals that could have saved the company, with Twitter and Spotify, they just kept falling apart. The very people who built SoundCloud felt completely left behind.
But here's the crazy part. While the business side was basically on fire, fighting for its life, a cultural revolution was happening on the platform almost completely by accident.
People started calling it SoundCloud rap, and it was just different. It was raw, it was super emotional, and it sounded nothing like what was on the radio. This was music made in a bedroom, not some fancy studio, and it had this signature distorted, almost blown-out sound.
A whole new generation of superstars. I'm talking about artists like XXXTentacion, Juice WRLD, Lil Uzi Vert. They built massive careers entirely on this platform. They just upload tracks whenever they wanted and connect with millions of fans right there in the comments. No record label needed.
And that direct connection to the fans, that was everything. The whole social part of the platform, the likes, the reposts, the comments, it created this really intimate conversation that the old school music industry just couldn't replicate. It was its own little world. And, eventually, the powers that be, they had to pay attention. When the Grammys actually changed their rules to allow streaming-only releases, it was a massive nod to the influence of artists who came up on SoundCloud like Chance the Rapper. The platform wasn't just a host anymore, it was making kings.
So a last-minute investment in 2017 literally saved the company from going under. After all that chaos, where does that leave SoundCloud today? All right, so here's a quick snapshot of where we are now. It is still a massive platform. We're talking 140 million users a month. But the strategy? That's changed. The new leadership is laser-focused on one thing: profitability. And they're trying to evolve from just being a streaming service into a real entertainment company built for creators. And in a lot of ways, it feels like they're really doubling down on that original mission. They're buying up companies like Musio, which uses AI to help with music discovery, and Repost Network for distribution. They're basically building out a whole toolkit to help artists manage their entire career, from the moment they create a song to the moment they get paid for it.
Which really brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? SoundCloud survived. It made it through its near-death experience. But now it lives in a world run by giants: Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. So can a platform that puts the artist first, can it still win? Well, that's the part of the story that's still being written.